Hi, I'm Pharaoh and I'm going to continue with this challenge. I'm thinking I might finish it today. It just depends how much I want to plow through, just kind of jumping from one system to another. Um, my discussion, I'm probably just going to talk about something. So about an hour in, my discussion will probably be my more structured thoughts on the 10th anniversary and what the Cosmos thing means. um, I've had a little bit of a think about it. I've written some notes down, so I might make that. I may make a video about that more completely, but I want to chat about it and see what people think and discuss that. But I'm going to go straight into the class challenge. Hi, Alphys.
Alphys195 says, Hi Pharaoh, a bunny rabbit mode activated today.
Bunny Rabbit Man. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Do you mean this? I've decided to just have my um, chair just in the picture and a green screen behind me, and I'm testing with a green screen that's not really complete. So the last few streams I've had that, but you may not have been watching as closely because you had other things going on. Right, so first of all I need to make sure I take that image away, and then I need to go into the game. Okay, so where we left it, I was on a planet, and because it was an extreme storm planet, I decided not to leave myself there. So I just flew back up to the space station. That's all I've done since, I think. I know occasionally I will tidy things up, but I don't think I've even done that. I've just brought myself here. And I now have the Warp Hypercore, what's it called? The Warp Hypercore blueprint. And so I think 3 might be enough to be going on with. One thing I might do to break up the monotony of just jumping between systems is just keep an eye out occasionally for missions that actually have storage augmentations like this one, and just run a few missions just to break up that. So at some point I'll go and kill 11 creatures and we'll get a storage augment, and the idea of that is that somewhere in here there should be another couple of where even are they? There's one supercharged slot.
Ignition says, Good evening Alphys, hello Pharaoh.
Hi, Ignition. Yeah, there's 2 slots visible at the moment, and the others could be anywhere. So I'm going to fill that slot in, and then start filling in these in if I can,
says,
because that might mean that we can get to the center quicker, which would make sense. Actually, I might just, before we even start jumping, just have a quick look at, say, a few systems. Actually, let's rename this system before we... So this is BH. I think we got to 6, so we'll do 7. My numbering is not really what doesn't really mean anything. It's just the ones I've actually logged, so I can find them again. Or did I come back? No, I've come back to that purple system, so I want to go... This isn't going to be BH7. Thank goodness we can change the names again now. That was a really nice quality of life. I want to go to BHD6 before I do anything else. So I'm going to have a quick look in a few systems, I think. Just see if there's any other slots available. And maybe occasionally look in the anomaly and see if that's there. I mean, if somebody really wants to be helpful, which I'm not demanding because it's like YouTuber privilege, but if anybody really wants to, they could sit in the anomaly and just check to see if the the reward comes up in the anomaly, because then I'll be straight there and do that. But I'll be checking occasionally. Right, so let's have a quick look. Because every 10 minutes that will change. That would be a warp hypercore for exactly the same as we've already got, so I might as well grab that. So I'm just going to do 5 of these. Just generally see if anything useful is in a few missions. Partly just because I'm very aware that just hyper jumping for 3 hours could be a little bit tedious. If not for me, I could fall asleep in that. Kill 15 creatures for an exosuit expansion, but that's really not that important. But I'm going to be killing the creatures anyway. Don't really need the frigate modules. I could go pirating, I suppose, and get the... I don't really need the multi-tool expansion, I don't think. Could go pirating and get a load of salvage frigate modules, I guess, but do I really need the matter beam even? This is the third one. I've also left a poll running.
Alphas195 says, your challenge is the first time I'm gonna be getting to the center by warp jumps.
Well, yeah, even if it only introduces people to jumping to the center via the black hole, I think that's an experience that not everybody has these days. No, there's nothing there that I really want. And especially in permadeath. I mean, if you've never done it in permadeath, if you've never gone through the center in permadeath, then you get a reward. You get 2 rewards if you've never done it in survival. So you get 2 titles, and because you get automatically the survival one if you go through... I can't remember what the survival one's called. I know the... I can't actually remember what either of them are called right this second. Just going for, there's nothing there really. That was number 4, wasn't it? To Live Forever is the title you get for doing it in permadeath. I can't remember what it is in survival. If anybody knows off the top of their head, put it in chat. Two storage augmentations, but it's deliver an item and raid a planetary harvester. So let's actually do these at some point while we're... I don't know, I have to do both of them here, don't I? Because they're both local. So let's actually just do these, and so you'll see why we're trying to do this. We might be lucky, we might get both of them. That would be extremely lucky, but... Steal industrial secrets from a secure facility. Harvest data from the factory terminal. Force will be required to enter the facility. This is one of the easiest of missions. Even in permadeath, you shouldn't really be that worried about getting through a door in time.
Mission says, perma is to live forever. Survival is take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath, that's it. It's funny how memory works, isn't it? Because as soon as you hear the actual thing, you know it's right. It's a bit like when someone once said to me, if you've never seen a picture before, you will probably think, have I seen that picture before? But if you have seen a picture before, you're much more likely to think, yes, I've definitely seen that before. It's like being reconfronted with information is, even if you can't recall it, is much more certain. Yeah, so the only thing about this one is that you have to, hi Gravnort, you have to actually find the place to deliver. So I will be using this trick. Now we can use exocraft as well, but I haven't got the right technology in my exosuit at the moment, my exocraft rather. So let's have a look. It's somewhere in that direction. Is it down there?
Axon Ignition says, very famous open question in computer science. Does NP equal P? It's what you said. Once given solution you know it's right. But otherwise you can't recall.
I don't know if that's an example of MP. If it is, I've never heard that used as an example. But I mean, my favourite one of those is the likelihood of somebody sharing your birthday in a group of people is so much lower than you think. There it is there. In one of my social groups, it's easily big enough for there to be two people that share a birthday, and it is true. But there's no, it's not as if there's like 365 of us. There's like 20 of us. But that's not actually that unlikely.
Axon Ignition says, birthday.
It is not my birthday. And it isn't me that shares a birthday with somebody else in the group. I don't have Atlas Pass 2. I do have the ability to craft it. I don't know if it's really worth it, but I suppose I could if it's easy. Cadmium, I'd have to make some. Have I actually got the cadmium on me? Yes, I do. And I would need some
Axon Ignition says,
chromatic
good
metal.
morning, Graph.
Metal. How much do I actually need? 200. That's quite a lot. They really want you to go and get that, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna make it. Let's grab everything else while we're here. What's your favourite back room in these games? Mine is the place where they're working on stripping down sentinels, I think. Because it tells a story. It tells a story that isn't clear what it means, but it tells a story nonetheless. Any more cadmium anywhere hidden away? Nope. I'd like to be closer to 0 than 17%. I don't know if that will happen. This is such a nice quality of life having this Mark II. And I still say that we should get rid of the portable and make it a what's it called? Legacy build part that doesn't work. To 202, so I should probably get a little bit more, but I could just...
Axon Ignition says, 1. Get rid of portable. It'll solve tons of griefing problems. 2. Default install the exosuit. 3. Keep the MK2 as an upgrade.
To default install the exosuit. Yep. Well, you don't have to default install it. You could just have it as part of the tutorial early on. So instead of having the bit of the tutorial that says create a portable refiner, install a portable refiner. Wouldn't take much. Right, so I should be able to make it, which means I can get rid of that.
Axon Ignition says, all these problems wouldn't exist if the ship had a refiner, the Exocrafts had a refiner, and you didn't have one.
I think I don't think the ships necessarily need one. I quite like the fact that the Colossus has got one, and that it's a full one. This one's a bit of a boring back room. Got a lot of loot though, I guess, but it's all quite low value loot. This is the thing that I always get a bit confused by, is that surely the Atlas level past 2 is something that you don't get that early on in a save. And a lot of these things you're not really that worried about by then. But behind the door is all of that loot that's kind of a little bit earlier. You would need it earlier than that. We're not at Remembrance, we can't do that. It always used to say Remembrance required. I thought it used to give you just a hello world. They're making it clearer, perhaps. I can't remember. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it's always said that. It's a long while since I've done that, clicked on that button without having Remembrance. Return. Actually, let's just check the other mission. Urgent credit. That's usually nearby system. Yep. Edagat. I guess the Exocraft could have the basic one, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's really necessary if you've got the basic one in your exosuit quite early on. And obviously Corvettes have them now, and you can get Corvettes really early in the game if you know what you're doing. Don't need any cash. Just build something. Say these aren't worth getting, but some of them are. Doing it anyway. Because the Atlas barrel fabricators are always worth it, especially if you're planning on warping a bit, because they nearly always have stuff that's helpful for warping. Or at least travelling around. Nothing up here. These are very large, boy, look. Done. Should have maybe killed some creatures while I was there, because I've got 1, 2, 3 already stacked. That would have been worth it, perhaps. For now, we'll cash these in and then we'll do some jumping. And there's a kill 11 creatures I got for my reward there. So I was right not to do that, because I can stack another one. How am I doing? Yes, I am doing the right thing. I don't know what. Whether I pressed the right button or not then. I had a sudden feeling I would press the wrong thing. Nope, no, neither of those. Alright, let's do some jumping and then we'll do the culling missions in a bit. Oh no, I don't want to do it from here, do I? Too eager to get out there. Black hole destination 6. necessarily looked here. Might as well check this one. Three sentinels for a walk, for a hypercore. I guess that's worth adding to my list. Hasn't enabled me to. Maybe we can rearrange these a bit. What are we on? 2055.4. I know you can't see that on the screen. That's lower. That's lower. We're probably at the highest we can be. 224. Hang on a minute. No, that's not going to work. If I had an extra line.
Graph Nord says, you could go get the Atlas figurine.
Could go get the Atlas figurine, I suppose. It's not gonna add a lot because it's based on the base score, but it would be like 5% of base score. I think we worked it out. Can't remember exactly, but I think that was something like that. Just jump anyway. Just slightly low. There might be one slightly closer that could be reachable. One still feels a bit low. I'd like it to be in the 1900s or just early 2000s. I feel like I'm getting somewhere. Have I just missed the system? Have I gone to the wrong one? I can't see a black hole here. I must have selected one. Ah, I did. Look, I've selected one right next to it. That was a waste of fuel. Probably not much fuel. I like that vivid red. Does this pixelate as much as the other things, those watching? Oh, there it is. Couldn't see it for a minute. Kind of just at the limit here. That'll do. Once I've jumped through this black hole, I think I will pull up the anomaly. grab the Atlas figurine, and also, while I'm there, get the scope thing you use in Exocraft, because I haven't got that at the moment. Notice this is getting quite close. What are we on? 69. It looks slightly more than that, but fair enough. Can't buy that. I haven't got any Quicksilver on this save. And I should really be monitoring this. Nope. Exocraft. Oh, I could have, while I was in the thingy, I could have got that, couldn't I? So I want the... Might as well get the radar, I guess. That's what we want. Cyclops. I know it's had something to do with Cyclops. Everything. Don't really need it to go super fast, but I could always put that in if I do need it. And and the rules state I can use the Minotaur if I get all of these. So, I mean, I probably won't get a chance to, but at least I won't have to come back to the anomaly if I ever want to before the end of this challenge, because I can put them all in and get the resources. So, is it an appearance? Yes. So, it doesn't actually have to be connected to anything. It doesn't get any adjacency. We've gained a little bit. We've gone 2,157 now, whereas we were on 2,055. It's not that significant, but it does give us a little bit of a boost. Could make the difference between being able to reach a black hole and not being able to reach one, I guess. So yeah, probably can't reach that one. No. 2,431. Oh, that's so bright. Let's look backwards from there. Oh, there's one here. Oh, that still can't reach that. maybe that one. I should also track how far we've come, but I'll do that after we've jumped through. Or how far we have to go at least. Galaxy map. We have 494, and we're it's doing that thing where you're not seeing the planets, but that's actually making it a little bit easier. Not seeing the systems, rather. See, these things like this, weird little bugs that stop you just using the normal thing, that make me think that this is something that's going to change in the update. That's just outside my jump range.
Pharaoh Hafuklid says, remember to like, subscribe, comment, or most importantly chat.
That's interesting. That's actually put that back in. I was trying something to see if I could get that to actually speak that again. So we're at 486. Slightly too far. Okay. 478. Vivid color for that black hole. Just had a theory that maybe when it goes into not having, well, that's a nice distance. When it goes into not having the stars, it might be because I've looked in the other menu first. I'm going to check that. So if I go into this menu and then out and then immediately into the map, no stars. I think that might be what causes it. Go straight into the map, fine. If we go, I wonder if we can do it now. So if we go into there, then to there, no, it's fine. I think if you go straight in before you go in, it doesn't have a problem. Just out of range. That's as close as I can get, I think. Checking again. Go in there. Go in there. Ah, but I did go into the quick menu first. So check again in a minute. It's not consistent at all. Might not be the problem at all. Trying to debug. I was trying to get into two programs that both use web services to communicate with each other, and they were just totally not playing ball with each other. And in the end, I was using AI to help me debug it, and it worked really quite well. We managed to kind of go away from my theory, but we established a testing strategy, me and the AI, anthropomorphizing it, and work out what the problem was. It's quite interesting how relatively efficient it was for something that I wouldn't have had any idea of how to do before. Okay, I've got to where I wanted to get to. I wanted to get to below 450 before I did some of these. So let's name this system. Seven, is it? Let's go culling. break it up a bit. Interesting planet. Okay, we did need to kill some sentinels, but I didn't really want them to immediately come looking for me. Okay, this might not be the best planet for culling, for two reasons. Got the weird creatures. Technical term. Weird creature set. Oh, we've got a beetle though. Can I really kill 15 beetles? They come out of the sky usually. I don't think they do. So everything in the weird list just seems to be harder to kill. Is that dead? No, it's moving. Only need to kill one more. Okay, let's ignore the rest of those. Find one that's got 15. Blimey, this is a nasty storm. Yet another reason why I shouldn't be on this planet. Bugs are getting back at me. I had a fly just flying in front of me. Ideally, there should be a couple at least, maybe 3 slots, and a couple of other things that were worth it. Some of them might have changed. Oh, I didn't do the right thing. I didn't do hand in, did I? So 2 of them. Locate a missing person. I might do that in a minute. Let's see what these 2 give me. Oh, that's 1. So that's 224, 226. That's 2171.0 hyperdrive range. 2181.1. 2157. So that's slightly more. It's not significantly more. That's slightly more. It's even more. It makes me wonder if that would be even more. That's 2188.1, 2193.6. That's 2199.5. Two 4.1. That's even better. Two 2210.0. That's even better still. Two 7.3. It's completely left that on its own. Two 6.5. I thought that might be better. So it's just arrived. Exotics just arrived. It's quite nice actually. Orangish and gold. If anybody likes the look of this. Then these are the glyphs.
Axon Ignition says, now we're in business, exotic.
nice exotic. I really like that one. Not going to get it now because it won't take us as far. Exotics are not as good as explorers. So I don't think I really need another slot necessarily. I'm not sure if it will actually, unless it happens to be here. I don't think it will necessarily help us, but we'll find out. We will keep going and we'll grab. Let's locate the missing person and then we'll do our discussion. I will do my musings on Cosmos again. I like the way this mission sometimes tries to guilt trip us into not revealing where they are.
Alphas195 says, Sean is playing mind games with us all.
Traveller, Hulov, Adosky, Lifeform, Korvax, Dogs, blah blah blah. The Lifeform jesters, they have recently seen the target. They seem amenable to an offer. Give them nanites. They called me here in the first place, and then they want nanites. Is there a time limit on this mission? No, there isn't. There is on some of them, or there used to be. I don't know if they've just got rid of that. Sean is playing mind games. I guess that goes to the question I'm asking. I just saw the destination. Always remember that I once found the guy I was supposed to find, the fugitive, hiding in my own settlement once.
Axon Ignition says, if it's not a huge update, a lot of people are going to be very disappointed.
I think it'll be big enough to not disappoint. Whether it will be the update that everybody wants is another matter. I mean, people always want different things. So there will be some people that inevitably will be disappointed with every update.
Axon Ignition says, the safest place for a fugitive is off settlement. I never visit it.
Well, it made me find it. And the interesting thing was, because it was back when we definitely had a timer.
Says, whatever the update is, there will be a week of bugs to fix.
And so it took me to a minor settlement, I think it was, and I got the lead as to where the guy might be. And it didn't look as if the actual question mark was that far away, so I just started to hop along on the ground. And as I was approaching, I was thinking, I'm heading towards my settlement. He can't possibly be in my settlement. And he was in the bar, which I thought was very appropriate for like a Western style go and find the fugitive. Nope, still not got it there. What did it reveal when I gave it in? Nope. Right, so let's just quickly save. Cut out of this.
Axon Ignition says, LOL. Meet me at the bar at the Pharaoh Coral at high noon.
I mean, it was in my permadeath save, so my settlement really did feel like a Western town. It was on a dusty planet, very high sentinel activity. It was like one of the highest sentinel activities planets I've ever been on. It did feel a bit Wild West. So, first off, the Cosmos teaser image and the trailer. But then we also have this. Exactly the same, or pretty much the same. We could probably do a comparison. So one's slightly zoomed in. Slightly different colours, especially on that spaceship on the left. Not that any of this makes any difference. The lines are a bit more prominent on the 10th anniversary. So, the first one we saw was this one, the Cosmos teaser trailer. And we got the name Cosmos, obviously. And then we got this one. There's a couple of things that I've been looking at recently and thinking about. And I started to write a post in a reply to somebody else's speculations on Reddit, because they were saying, oh, well, it's Cosmos. It's going to be about tidying things up. And I just don't see that. I don't see the big 10th anniversary just being like quality of life, tidying things up, making things a bit polished. That just doesn't sound like a 10th anniversary update to me. I think if they're going to start polishing certain things that are already there, I think they'd do that over a number of things. And they have been doing that a bit over the last year or so. But the thing I noticed the most about these images, there is no planet. There's no landscape. For instance, if we were to take that off the screen, this key art here is the much more classic key art, and there's a landscape. This key art, clearly some of the stuff has been taken from this key art. There's a landscape in the background. I don't know if any of the others are on this. If you look at various key arts through the years, most of them, not all of them, will have some form of landscape along the bottom. And this one doesn't. So I think if there's anything to go by in the picture, either one of the pictures, then I feel like it is strongly suggesting that the cosmos wording means space. It's just the generic, more normal definition of space. It's not the ancient Greek definition of space. It's not the let's um, let's think about order versus chaos or order from chaos. It's not it's not really strongly hinting at Void Mother stuff. But of course, that could still be in there too. So it's not wrong to suggest that stuff. But it's strongly suggesting um, space. Now, the other thing, if you notice, if we take that off the screen again, in this background image here, we have a planet behind the main hero character. In fact, this, actually, is it that image? No, that image is called No Man's Sky Hero by by Hello Games themselves. I think this one is just called No Man's Sky Key Art, whatever. I think Key Art 10 perhaps, I can't remember exactly.
Graf Nord says,
Yes.
Carl Sagan is the Void Mother.
Carl Sagan does come up a bit. But the fact that we don't get a planet so much as our moon, put it that way. This red image here, the planet behind is actually our moon. It's Earth's moon. And you can tell that if you compare it to a picture of Earth's moon. And you can see that some of the crater patterns are similar enough that what they've done is that they've taken a picture of the Earth's moon and they've just painted over it a bit to make it a little bit less obvious. And then they've coloured it red and kind of made it look more like a piece of art, which then they can meld into this image. So whoever the artist was like, okay, what we want is a moon. We want to represent a moon. So well, I'll just get a picture of the moon. I'll make it slightly, but only slightly less obvious that it's the moon. And then I'll put it in the background. I'll make it red, make it a little bit more alien so it's not like our moon. But why would they do that as the main image behind? I think, again, that suggests something to do with space. Now, whether or not the thing that immediately jumps to mind there, that we will actually get moons that orbit planets. I mean, I'd love that. I still don't see it. I feel that would be tricky to pull off. But I could imagine that kind of thing not being available on Switch, but being available on other platforms as an example of that, not having things that are too disparate. I think it would be a bit awkward, but I think it could just about work on Switch 2, which is the multiplayer one. So I don't think you would necessarily disqualify it based on processing ability. I think a PS4 could probably manage that, but even if it couldn't, you could put it as, you could just be very specific about which ones did, but it wouldn't be that different. It wouldn't be dramatically different. However, you've got to remember that cross-play allows us to be in the same place as each other. So really, PS4 and Switch 2 would have to have the same things they're looking at. So I don't necessarily think that we would get orbital stuff. I just can't see it unless they can find a way of putting it on the Switch 1. And I don't really see that. Or everything except the Switch 1. Maybe possible, I'm not sure. I think it's unlikely. But I made a little list of things that if it's definitely space, and it's just hinting at space, the things that we possibly could see. If I can find my notes. So first off, there are the things that I've already discussed before. There's freighter hangars because I'm seeing problems with freighters. Multiplayer freighter handling because we saw that strange thing where multiple freighters were spawning in. And that seemed to be a weird bug, but I think that might have been to do with multiplayer. Corvette landing pads I've talked about already, and the galaxy map. A complete galaxy map overhaul I think is on the cards. But they're the things that I was generally speculating about before. Then I thought I would just look at, if it was definitely space, what are the things that could do with a polish that actually exist in the game but probably would need a little bit of work. And so we already mentioned lack of planetary motion. You could make planets rotate, I suppose. But space anomalies, they could desperately need a bit of a polish. At the moment, they don't really do an awful lot. We come across them. They don't have any link to the rest of the game. It'll be nice if some of them were actually positioned in systems as opposed to having to warp around systems. So space anomalies could be a thing that they could do. Ship combat, people always talk about the lack of properly engaging ship combat. Capital ship combat, a very common request. Long distance trade, a request for people like me that like the galaxy map and want excuses to get in there and travel around longer distances. I'd love to see some form of long distance trade. So, for instance, you get some kind of contract that says, take this thing from here to a distant location that's a number of jumps away, and then you can't get there by anything other than putting the stuff in your freighter and using your freighter to jump. If you use anything else, including the teleport system, then the item gets removed or gets somehow corrupted, i.e., like fruit going off or something like that, or something that's very, very fragile gets damaged. So it changes its nature if you try any other method of getting there. Something like that. Anything that forces you to use a particular form of travel, say, for instance, a freighter, over the long distance on the galaxy map would be quite nice, I think. Galaxy pathfinding. Galaxy pathfinding is really awkward these at the moment. For instance, the number of players that get stuck in situations where they're trying to get somewhere and they're saying, why am I jumping over and over and over? And they've gone through a black hole and they don't realize, or they're not in the galaxy they thought they were in, or they've gone to the weekend mission and they've stayed there, made a base there, and they didn't realize it was all the way across the other side of the galaxy. So just things like being able to have better pathfinding, better ability of seeing how far your destination is, actually seeing there's a path, but a warning telling you this is literally 1,000, 2,000 light years away would be really nice. Industry and space, we kind of touched on that before. So something where we could mine in space, make mining bases in space, portable technology we can put on things in space, like on particular types of asteroid, like permanent, can see all the time asteroids, things like that. Space bases, again, we discussed that, but it kind of ties in with industry and space. Reasons to have bases in space, kind of space stations, but not space station taking over, but building our own. More stuff for living ships. I've always said that living ships should have a different view of the galaxy map. They should have a more intuitive view of the galaxy map, where they see different things to other ships. Give us more reason to have living ships. Frigates as a point of interest, i.e. there's a reason to go to frigates other than just repair them. As I've said many times, there's not any NPCs there. We can't use them strategically for anything other than sending them on expeditions. It would be just nice if we had something more to do with them. Maybe just park our ship on them and go with them on the expedition in a more structured way. Many people don't realise you can find them on the galaxy map. They look like 3 little bullets, and you can go there and you can often find your own frigates in those other locations. Very, very occasionally you get missions that take you to them. They say, we need help, could you come and help us? There aren't many of those missions, but they would be even cooler if we actually had some form of interaction with frigates that wasn't just go on them and fix them, and actually have denizens in them, a load of Gek in there that actually are running around. Maybe we could get missions from them, etc. different missions if we go on expeditions with them. Skybox representing the galaxy, that idea that when we look up at the sky, we actually are seeing the planets, which I have a feeling was available once, but changed quite a long while ago now. So I'd like the edge of the galaxy to just have a void to one side. I'd like the middle of the galaxy to just have a bright spot and no stars around. It did apparently work like that once. Somebody has told me. It was before I was playing, I think. Lack of planetary motion we've talked about. So they're the ideas that I kind of have in my head as to what space could represent. Now, they're not things necessarily that I expect, but they're just things that I feel like could need polish, could need a little bit of love, and could end up in a more expansive space thing. So they might bring in something completely separate to all of that and then include some of those things as part of a themed update, and that would be really nice to see. So anything stand out there that you'd really like to see yourself? And while you ponder that, I'll have a quick look at my poll. So
Gravnaut says, placing a base on asteroids for extracting platinum and tritium would be something I would like.
yeah, it'd be quite nice, especially if they gave us new things that we don't have access to in other places, or took away access from other places and just kind of made it more focused. So that resource is a mining resource from space. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll. Does having longer to speculate make for more informed theories? Yes, 25%. No, 75%. That's with 11 votes. So a good part of the number of the people that have actually been watching today. I agree. I think that having longer to speculate kind of makes things worse. It makes us go off into kind of wild theory land. If we've only got a few days to speculate, we don't have enough time to go off into wild theory land. So yeah, I kind of agree with that. It doesn't make for more informed theories. It just makes our minds wander more. I've been seeing more and more extreme, but this is definitely what it means, theories over the last few days, and I feel like it's a bit weird. The very last thing I'm going to talk about in this section, but it wouldn't involve going back into the game, so let's take that picture off.
Says, for me the key statement was only 1% of Euclid has been discovered, implying a new ways to discover systems. Galactic map, screenshot it. This is the last we see of that.
Well, I mean, that comes under galaxy pathfinding, I think. But I'm not 100% sure that that's what it really means. I think they're just kind of pointing out that there's a lot out there to discover. I think there are some people that genuinely think, surely if I start playing now, everything's been discovered. And so it's just kind of a gentle reminder, if you ask me. But I mean, maybe it does. As I say, it could come under galaxy pathfinding and a better galaxy map, making it clear the areas of space that haven't been discovered more. So yeah, in the game, if we go back to the anomaly, oh no, we've already been to the anomaly. We've already seen that we've got community research.
Axon Ignition says,
this is broken.
I also think, the longer the gap, the wilder the expectations and ergo, greater the disappointment later.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it does. The hype machine builds, doesn't it? It gets more and more hyped. Now, this page is broken. Some people are even seeing, and they have been for ages, they're even seeing the swarm expedition details. Possibly because this particular save was never in the swarm. They're not seeing it. Maybe let's go into one that I know I did the swarm from and see if that changes. Put to mode select. So Swarm Plus, that was the actual one I did. So that would give us a clue if it's actually reoccurring. If this doesn't, I'll have a look in Omega Plus as well. This is handy because we're actually at the anomaly. So we can see that the thing across the top of the anomaly that tells us how close we are to our goal is working here. And we can see if we go in there, it's working fine. Universal Community Research Progress, Tier 3, 69%.
Says, the other thing I would like is to rework portals so that we could include the galaxy code in the portal address. Increase the input to 14 GLYPHS from 12 GLYPHS.
Could work. Should we be able to go to galaxies we haven't been to before, or is it just so that you can go to galaxies you have been to? So you unlock galaxies, maybe. I don't know, maybe. It could work. Community research. See here, this one has been in there. This has the prismatic core construction still. Now, I think this is another little clue. Bear with me. I've always said, when trying to explain, that we've got lots of data about how these things work.
Make it another endgame situation like unlocking purple systems.
Yeah, that's another way of doing it. I was thinking that myself, actually, when you said it. I've always said in the past, when people have said, oh no, we don't really have a handle on whether or not Hello Games are cheating, I've always said we've got reams of data because we've had the Quicksilver booth working for a long while. We've seen how it works, and the expedition slider indicator is just exactly the same. There's only one, and it switches from this one here to the expedition, and this one stops working during the expedition. But to me, it looks like there's two now. That to me looks like there's actually going to be two in the future. And if that's the case, we could be seeing some form of ability to run older expeditions. Now, I don't necessarily think that we will run... You'll be able to just go to the expedition terminal and run any expedition ever. But it could mean that we're getting to that point where they've actually started to consider rolling the expeditions out one at a time, all the time. So they don't have to worry about stopping this running when people want to do an expedition that did have a community element. We'll see. But it just makes me think maybe they've made two now. Maybe they've got two indicators. The other thing this suggests, we've got 13 days to go before something happens. Are we waiting 13 days before the expedition? I mean, before the update? 13 days and 20 hours. So that would be into the 14th day from now. So it would be a Thursday or a Friday. It would seem unlikely, but we have had major drops on Thursday. It's interesting anyway. It just makes you think, where's that number coming from? Why 13 days? Anyway, that's the end of that really. I'm going to go back into the challenge. But obviously, as I always say, we can keep discussing some of these issues. Like, for instance, are we going to see... What are we going to see, rather?
Ignition says, Q, do you feel that this update will be last of the big ones?
Possibly. I don't think it will be the last. And we know Hello Games. They could be telling themselves right now, okay, one large update left, this is the big one. We do a load of stuff, maybe tidy up a few things, and then we're not doing any more big updates. We're just going to do little updates forever now. And then they'll end up making a big one, because that's what they always say happens. They think, well, we'll just make little ones, and then they end up making a big one because they start getting together and saying, oh, that thing you're working on for update 2 away, that works really well with my update 4 away. Maybe we should combine them. And then the person in the update 3 away says, oh yeah, I can think of a really cool way of joining up my 2 things as well. And then they end up making a huge one.
10 years is a long time for a video game.
10 years is a very long time for a video game, but I don't think they're going to abandon it. But it is possible that they won't do any more big ones. Am I at the furthest point? Yes, I am. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect them to keep bringing out huge updates forevermore. I don't think they'll have stopped. I think they've always got things that they suddenly think, oh, we could put this into the game. And as they've said, it's such a generic sci-fi game that there's always kind of some cool thing or other that they could potentially drop in. But I do think there might be a bit of a slowdown in terms of bigger updates. And we have already seen that, I think. I mean, if you look at this year's updates, even some of last year's updates, they weren't necessarily as big. But some of them obviously were huge, like Voyager was huge. Voyager or Voyagers, because there were 2 things. One was called Voyager, the other was called Voyagers. I always get them confused. One was an expedition, one was an update. Corvette update anyway. That was a huge update. Although I don't think they necessarily realised quite how big the update was. I think they thought, oh, this is a cool thing we can add. I don't think they fully, until it was implemented and we saw just how big a change it was to the game, I'm not sure they necessarily thought this is a huge change to the game until it was done, until they realised what they'd done. And now there feels like they could still do more with that. The mission board doesn't feel like it's been finished yet, for instance. It feels like an afterthought at the moment. Will we ever get bed logging, for instance, so we can actually sleep in our corvettes or our freighters or our bases and just log out of the game that way? Will we ever get a PvP mode that actually makes sense? Sometimes I think if I divert too far off, am I actually going further away from the core? I don't think it matters too much. Think about the actual angular difference between our first position and where we end up. It's probably not as much as it seems when I'm looking around near the destination. Might be able to get to that one. No, it's just slightly too far. Almost got the jump range for that though. If I can just get another couple of slots. Moving there, so we got to 0. Excellent, we managed to wind it right down. I haven't recently looked to see how close we are. Keep doing the wrong thing to do that. So we are at 4:05. Noisy wood pigeon outside. It's all out of range. And I think it's probably better to quickly jump than it is to mess around too long. These take us further. I've lost it again. There it is. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Been going for 1 hour 40 today. Probably about 20-25 minutes discussion. See, I mean, one of the things I'm talking about when I say better pathfinding in the galaxy map, if I were to just mark this and then try and jump to, like, go a long way further and try and jump to it, it wouldn't give me a path all the way there. And it would actually be quite hard to work out where that thing was. I mean, even if it only gave us an indication of the direction it is, it would be better than we have now. Here's an interesting yes or no question. I won't make a poll, it's not worth it. Should they bring back damage from black holes?
Gravnaut says,
No. No, definitely not. I'm not convinced they should either, just because there are other methods now.
Alphas195 says, no.
Shortest one I've done for ages, but never mind. Okay. Should they...
Harmington 1983 says, no, wasn't but comedy comes in threes.
It does. Hi, Parmenter. I'm not sure if you were already in the chat, but I don't think I spotted you. Should they change what black holes do? So instead of it being a path to the centre, which seems quite old-fashioned compared to newer methods, should they change them to something else? Or maybe have different types of black hole marked in different colours. Some are to the centre and some go to the outside. Some travel around.
Gravnaut says, no.
Gravnaut, the conservative cosmologist. So I think there's a case to be made for changing them, because they have less utility these days.
Name says, maybe Cosmos will have black holes go to different universes.
Could be fun. Just the occasional one. Just a bit of variation for black holes. Just like you never quite know what will happen if you go through one. Could be interesting.
Channel username, that's a good idea.
So you've even convinced Gravnaut now. If they ever bring out a realm of glass, maybe black holes could be a realm of glass entrance. i.e. a different galaxy with higher stakes, can't stay there too long, we have to have special technology to stay there at all. Different kind of space, different kind of stuff in there. I don't think that's what's coming with Cosmos. I think they would call it something else. They might call it glass, for instance. Although I imagine if Sean drops the emoji and it's glass, it's a glass. a glass of wine or the whiskey glass emoji. Then people would be speculating completely wildly.
Alphas195 says, Vood Mother update should be called Reflections.
Yeah, Reflections sounds familiar. Was there an expedition with a similar name to that? I don't know why I'm thinking that. That would be a good name for a 10th year anniversary. Reflections. So we have got to 3,349. What's the point where you stop being able to jump? Gravnut, you did this recently. Do you remember where you weren't able to jump anymore? How close you had to be? I.e. galaxy jump. Not galaxy, black hole jump. Already got me thinking of going to different galaxies now.
Graph North says, 10K is where black holes are no longer functional.
10K, that's pretty close. That's pretty much their maximum jump distance, isn't it? Having over 2,000 is paying off for a few of these jumps. I'm sure I'm much more fuel efficient now. I've got a few more. What are we on now? 67 only. I was thinking it was something like 30,000 before.
Squid says, for a link to the rules of the class challenge type class.
I added a rule for if you type rules, but it just says there's only one challenge at the moment, C class.
Gravnaut says, ha 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 ha.
It's just to stop that confusion if I ever forgot myself. But if I then do another challenge of any kind, then I can always add another rules available, this one or this one, rather than put multiple links. Need to start thinking of a different challenge. And maybe not one that involves using the black hole path. Although that is only the optional longer version of this. What am I doing? There must be a reasonable challenge you could do with abandon mode. I guess the obvious thing to do with abandon mode is have some extra restrictions, but I don't think that makes a challenge so much as just a restricted playthrough. I mean, this one was a bit of a restricted playthrough, but it did make us think differently about how to do it, how to approach it. Seven. We're into the twos. That's about as excited as we can be, just jumping from system to system. Just out of reach. Maybe that one. Should be making this. I'm going to need some plasma. I think you can buy that though, can't you? In normal systems or from traders, possibly from pirate systems. 50%. Another thing that you could potentially do is have different things on the galaxy map. So, for instance, maybe like brown dwarfs or rogue planets. Just mix it up a bit. Something just unusual that Polo needs to send you to. This will break things up a bit. Shooting them when they're too close to the freighters. Rocket actually take his shields out? That's new. Newer. Test that again. No. That one did seem to take it out. The last time I really want to get an S class. I just stick with what I've got. But if I had an S class, I'd be tempted. For the bump. As we've been distracted from our mission, might as well see if we can get the better rockets. Nice. Red and yellow is quite a striking combination for explorers, as is red and black. I don't really like the turkey-shaped ones, but I've got one at the moment. Do have a slightly better photon cannon while I'm here. See if they've got it. As we're in a station. Probably not going to be back here very often. I'll grab the A. At some point. While we're here. Nope. Just gone past the 2-hour mark. We should maybe think of something to mix this up, just rather than just popping in to get some stuff. Maybe we'll go and get that ammonia in a bit. Or maybe we'll start visiting space stations and just checking to see if we can get any more slots. 272. We get to 225 something. Or when we run out of hyperdrive fuel, whichever comes first. If we really wanted to min-max this journey, we would also get slightly better pulse drive so we could fly towards the black hole slightly quicker. Nice distance. This reminds me a little bit of Freelancer. If you wanted to travel long distances, you would just go into a new system, go straight to the jump point, go straight through, go to another system, go straight to the jump point. Slightly out of range. Just taking my average down. I was getting quite far on some of those, and then that one. So, if they were going to overhaul the galaxy map, ignoring kind of new things that we've got no idea about, like new things they could add into the galaxy map, what extra filters would you like to see? I just seem to be in the... Oh, I'm in the life form filter, of course. So we currently have life form, economy, and I don't have the other one. There is another one, isn't there? Life form, economy, and combat. Yeah, conflict. I haven't got a conflict scanner. Would you, for instance, want to see anomalous planet filter, or I think what else there is just looking around on the galaxy map. Can I reach that one?
Channel username says, planet biome type maybe, but that could be complicated.
I think if you selected certain things, you could make it work.
In the galaxy map that allowed you to input specific economy, wealth, conflict and race.
Make it much more interactive, in other words. So you'd feel like you had a navigation computer. You're looking for certain things. I mean, one way... I mean, currently you could look for a biome by looking for the thing that's only found in that biome. So, for instance...
username says, search sounds awesome.
So, for instance, if we wanted to go to... a lush biome, we would put in the availability of I hate it when my brain does this. It just blanks on simple things. So we could go, for instance, if we pin Starball, locate substance, and go to the galaxy map. Currently, it will just give us one location. If we're not in a place where it already has it, it will give us one location. We probably have it in the one we're in. But what you could do instead is you could pin things like that, and it would give you all the local locations of Starball. That could work. That way or you could just, for that matter, it would be the equivalent of just pinning a biome, for instance. I would like to see better defined boundaries between regions, so you can actually see the edge of a region, maybe just as an option. I would like it maybe if you could just filter out, so every other star, it would just highlight the stars that are in your region and make the other stars fade out a bit, or desaturate them, or just take them out of the filter, so you've got a certain colour for a region. But as we were saying before, it'd be quite nice if when you go and look at a system, say for instance, pick a system, it actually told you what the guild was, especially if you've already been somewhere in the region, then it could tell you what guild you're in. But if there was an interactive search, you could search for a guild, couldn't you? That's probably far enough. Should we have a new guild? If they do an overhaul of guilds in the future, should the autophage have a shipbuilders guild? Or some other new race. What other guilds can we think of? I'd also love to see mutual exclusivity in guilds. You can't be maximum on one, and then also maximum on its rivals. Which would make getting to the top of all of them one at a time harder, because you'd have to get to the top of one and then choose another one and start losing in that first one by gaining on the second one, thereby not having the ability to trade for certain things. We got even further than I thought. We're nearly going to be below the 2s. That's going to be too far, isn't it? Oh no. Oh, I'm not as far as I thought. I do feel like we might be able to finish this in this stream. It might mean making the end a bit boring, because we'd have to like do what we're doing right now, I guess. So we're in 194. So let's we're actually making progress, it feels like, when you get the larger number down. Still got hyperdrive fuel. Let's try and run that down. I don't know how long that's going to take. That might take a bit too long before we'd have to do something else for variety, if only for my sanity. I mean, there's a kind of challenge you could do that says you have to. The goal is to get to the centre, so it's going to take a while. It's a long form challenge, but you have to do certain things in each region to then use the black hole in that region. But I feel like that could take far too long. It'd be the type of thing that you might do as lonely fun, but not necessarily as streaming fun. I've often thought that there could be, if you take that a little bit more local, that there could be types of challenges where you can only progress to another system once you've done certain things. The extreme version of that would be you've discovered absolutely all of the fauna and flora. Maybe not all the minerals, that would be really, I mean, you could, but that would be really challenging. Finding all the minerals on a planet can be really tedious. Remember when one of the Nexus missions used to be a little bit too heavy on how many minerals you had to find. I think they changed it in the end. Check my fuel after this one. Zero. I'm getting good at guessing when I'm about to run out of fuel. I did it last time as well. For I will check, and it was on 0. I can go through here. Dreadnought. Don't know if I'm really that capable of taking down a dreadnought.
Enemy missile inbound.
Do it the old-fashioned way. Still miss the challenge of being able to defeat all the torpedoes, get maximum reward. I feel like these things lost a lot when they took that away.
Axon Ignition says, dinner's over. I really enjoyed that video of yours when you were taking videos.
Was that another you saying exactly the same as I was saying out loud as you were typing?
Axon Ignition says, we're thinking the same thing. LOL.
does allow... I was going to see what happened if I destroyed without going in, but I suppose I can still do that because I don't have to negotiate. Because that might have changed. I haven't really played with this, all the different options for a long while. So it gives me something to do other than warping and going through black holes. Ow. Really not used to doing this with a lower class weapon.
You're one of the few people I know who I can see playing some really challenging games.
I used to. I'm not as Twitch focused as I used to be. I used to love Quake was one of my favourites. There's a new Quake level. I'm really tempted to go and have a look at the new Quake level. The longest running game to suddenly get new DLC. What does that mean?
Axel Ignition says, you ever tried any FromSoft game?
FromSoft. I don't know. What do they make? Doesn't sound familiar.
Axel Ignition says,
No.
Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Elden.
Never played any Dark Souls games. Or Elden Ring. I'm not seeing anything going down. It's almost like I've not got the... Can I just not defeat it? Just check both of the trenches in case for some reason I missed one.
Axel Ignition says, you ever get tempted?
Oh, it's gone.
They're controller first games.
Right, so the interesting thing will be to see if I get any reward other than cash. I didn't seem to get anything for destroying it. It said get a large reward for destroying it. But I guess recruiting survivors, is that a large reward? I think you can do that anyway, can't you?
Axel Ignition says, I think even Cairn is very stressful.
Oh, Cairn can be stressful, absolutely. I really liked it though. And I'm still going to go back to it and try and finish, because I never did manage to get my never did manage to beat it in free solo. I have got a current free solo run I haven't played for a while.
Axel Ignition says, Sir Steve-O stole the large reward, that's what happened. Duke Daddy.
I sometimes think you're determined that I have a villain or a rival streamer, but I don't have a rival streamer. It used to be a thing with podcasts, didn't it? People used to have kind of playfully rival podcasts. What I was thinking is maybe call in my freighter, but I called in the anomaly not thinking. Actually, while I'm here, what I haven't done for ages is actually check to see if the nano walls have changed. Probably doesn't matter at this stage, but having like topping up your nanites, 55. This one should give me a few.
Axon Ignition says, we need confrontation, innuendos, insinuations, Chinese, drama. *J/K it's good it's all peaceful.
I mean, that is more of what I would do on Reddit. I do sometimes seem to make enemies on Reddit. I try not to, but it can happen. People are much more confrontational there.
Technology recharged. Component repaired.
I need a warp cell, but I have got the ingredients.
Axon Ignition says, I remember seeing this post of yours on Red, downvoted to I was laughing so hard.
Oh, there have been a few. It doesn't really bother me if I get downvoted on Reddit, that's the thing. I've got too much karma to worry about being downvoted, so sometimes I just say the most controversial thing, because it's what I think. Knowing that it's just going to get completely blasted. Right, so do we have ammonia? There we go.
Axon Ignition says, another commentator on the same thread said, I would normally hard disagree, but seeing as who posted this, I'm inclined to give it some thought. That's respect. Axon Ignition says, I'm sure you know Terrible Purpose, another legend.
Yep, absolutely. We usually agree on things. I did have my disagreement with him early on. But respectfully, we were trying to come to some alignment about how we saw multi-tools, because he's the multi-tool king in terms of knowing the system and writing up the first proper guide. What are we doing? I'm going to a planet, not a system.
Pharaoh Euclid says, for a link to the rules of the class challenge type class.
Well, ironically though, I think I was wrong. All I was trying to say was that I wasn't 100% sold on the idea that there were pools in the multi-tool. How we work out what model is in the multi-tool and what class it will be in the cabinet. But only the other day, I think I finally was convinced by that multi-tool that was in the anomaly. I don't really want to be landing here unless actually usually usually there aren't tornadoes as well as... Storm clearing. Then we get a toxic localized storm. If I pin it. It's fungal mode, of course it is. Oh, it's ammonia I wanted, wasn't it? Not fungal mold. I suppose I have got some salt, but that looks like it might be ammonia over there. It is. Yeah, let's get that fungal mold out of the way. I need again 250, oh, just shy. Okay, back on track, because I feel like we can do this. We can finish this off. We're on 2 hours 41 minutes. I'm not sure if we can do it in 20 minutes, but we'll see. The black hole system. Did I just go through the black hole? I'm not sure. I'm getting confused. as well. Terrible Purpose once gave me a the location of a wild base computer when I wanted to travel around the galaxy a bit more. You used to be able to defeat you could defeat, what's it called, portal interference that way. I still don't think they should have got rid of portal interference. There should have just been a method of, once you progress to a certain point in the game, portal interference goes away, maybe. Or maybe after you've travelled through your first galaxy centre. But I don't feel like you should just be able to do it and get to the galaxy centre. But I think it was causing too many problems for weekend missions. Too many people were defeating portal interference in order to jump to weekend mission systems. What would people say to changing the portals to, you can only use the portals when you've got all of the glyphs, instead of being able to just like get glyph number 1 and just find a quick way to the center?
Graph Nord says, they should at least change spamming suns always going to 5k from the core.
Yeah.
That should be a random system.
I agree, it just feels wrong. I feel like portal interference made that possible. And that was what they were trying to avoid with portal interference, that kind of thing. I mean, even if you said you had to get 5 glyphs before you could get to the... before you could use them, or anything, really. Maybe if they gave them to you in the opposite order, that would be fun. Give you the Triforce triangle symbol first, then the tree, then the rocket, etc. That could work. Because you wouldn't be able to travel anywhere early on with just one glyph. I guess it would kick you out somewhere, but... almost into the zeros. We're probably going to do it today.
Gravnaut says, that could work. Since you need the first 7 GLYPHS for planets.
Mm-hmm. We should suggest it. Send a suggestion to Hello Games. Reverse the order that the glyphs are arriving. See how many people notice. Just put it in a little do it on a major update when nobody reads the patch notes at the bottom. A bit like they did with the Paradise Planet shift.
Gravnaut says, I'm not shooting. Harmington 1983 says, or randomize the GLYPHS.
I suppose you could randomize them. In other words, make them in an order that makes a little bit more sense.
Axon Ignition says, oh, I sent them a postcard yesterday. Love from New Delhi, where is my update?
Did I just make a mistake again? I'm not sure.
Alphas195 says, why did it spell out GLYPHS like that?
Did it spell it? I didn't hear. But it did it again, yes. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't know the word. It just doesn't know that that's a word, so it doesn't know how to pronounce it. I thought we've used the word glyphs in the past in the chat.
Harmington 1983 says, doesn't know the word glyph.
Yeah, they are. We're just going to have to spell it wrong. It's one of those words I frequently spelt wrong.
Axon Ignition says, what Clio does know is hieroglyphics, not GLYPHS.
It would seem that way.
Harmington 1983 says,
would make sense.
Might be the plural is glyphs.
I have no idea what the plural is, whether that's true or not. What would that be? Latin or Greek? Where does the word glyphs come from? Or is it Egyptian? Can't be Egyptian.
Says, maybe it only tries to pronounce unknown words if it detects a vowel, and it doesn't count Y as a vowel.
Yeah.
Naught says, well, that ain't it.
No, I think channel username might have it right. It doesn't recognise the word and it doesn't have a vowel, so it doesn't have any way of attacking it.
It is Egyptian. Pharaoh needs a cartouche.
I'm pretty sure Pharaoh has a cartouche already. We should work out what it is though, shouldn't we? Have it on the screen somewhere, maybe in just chatting. I have been considering making a different stream starting soon video. Now I've got a bit more knowledge of
Axon Ignition says
making videos.
it should be a small dowbell IJ.
$83. We're getting close. We can do it before the 3 hours is up. Race against time. Actually, we won't. It's already 7 minutes to go. We'll see. We'll see how close we get in the 7 minutes. I'm not going to stop streaming at 3 hours. Exactly. If we're close enough, I'll keep going just to finish it off.
Axon Ignition says, well, your streaming issues seem resolved. Must have been the mouse. Very stable now.
Maybe. I don't see much difference in my stats. I've got 48 drop frames out of 625,568. So that's not a lot. You're not going to notice the frame drops that often. And some of them were probably when I was starting, when I was using the mouse. I don't think I'm seeing a lot of difference in the stats. I was actually wondering, let's go into this a second. Displaying graphics. I've been wondering if
Axon Ignition says, I remember one stream.
reflex changed things.
With the expedition, I believe 'twas 7 hours long stream.
Yeah, because we were already discussing the update. Because you remember it was one of those ones where the update drops and then the expedition dropped.
195 says, relics.
Possibly, I don't remember which. All I remember is that the expedition was possible to do relatively quickly, so we did it all in one stream. But we had been discussing the update beforehand, so it really took us into a long stream. That was 7 hours, as you say. I don't think we'll need to do that. I think we're nearly there, really. If I can find a black hole. So we are currently, we are currently 72,000 away. I have a feeling that black holes get a little bit more consistent towards the middle, but I might be dreaming that.
Axon Ignition says, I'm hoping for another 7 hours steam when Cosmos drops. Folks at home, make sure you've got pots of coffee ready for that one.
I think I would probably, if I was in a similar situation, I would probably split the stream. Or maybe just have a break and leave it on. Do not just be right back for a bit. So now we are 65. So I reckon we'll be doing this quite quick. On average, we've been doing about 2,000 jump and about 8,000 So that's 10,000 per black hole and then jump. I think it's been going to be quite close to the 3-hour mark. That would be something I would love to see. Make it so we don't have to dismiss that stupid screen every time. That would make me punch the air in that small things that would make you really pleased, that most people wouldn't even notice. So when we arrive in the system, we have to dismiss the black bar if we want to do something else. So here I have to hold to skip in order to get to... Oh, I didn't want to do that. But in order to do that, I don't understand why, because they could give us the information without forcing us to skip things. About plenty of coffee. This seems to be lasting forever. Probably because I'm sipping it from the cup, because it's a sip cup. And it keeps it warm. But... So even if we stopped using black holes now, the number of jumps wouldn't be that prohibitive.
Says, remember to like, subscribe, comment, or most importantly chat.
So we've gone over 3 hours. 3 hours and a minute. I think I started the stream a minute in, but oh no, about 3 minutes in. Because I always have the starting soon thing, about 3 minutes to go. So we've got about a minute left, I think. Nice long jump. would you prefer to see? No, I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to leave that one for a discussion point. I'm not going to even say it out loud because that's actually quite a nice one. We'll talk about that another time.
Axon Ignition says,
No! Not going to say it. I should write it down though so I don't forget.
Graf Nord says, ha 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 ha.
I think it's already slipping my mind. What was I thinking? It's like when you wake up after a dream that's really amazing and then you almost immediately forget it. And it only comes back to you later in little bits.
Graf Nord says, tell us, we'll remind you. Axon Ignition says, LOL. Parmenton 1983 says, and the question was, if there was a 27th letter of the alphabet, what sound would it make?
Should the interrobang be just the exclamation mark and the question mark superimposed on each other? Or should it be a new shape? There you go. That's the most trivial question in the world. What happened? I think I have reached the limits of the black hole. Pity I don't have my Corvette. I could go and touch the black hole.
Nord says, you're there.
Right, so the rest is just jumping. You can be a bit more precise, but I can't remember what my exact jump range was now. I'll have to look. That'll do. So we're at 10k.
Axon Ignition says, 3 hours mark, start to get sleepy.
Well, I can understand that. Sometimes I start to get a little bit out unfocused, but right now we have an objective. It's a bit like an expedition in that once I've got an objective, I get my teeth into it. I start to persevere. Should only be about 4 more jumps, maybe. Actually, slightly less than that because it's about 3,000 is the court. We are very nearly there. Was it 300's the core?
Starships approaching.
Where's the emergency warp? Don't send me backwards. Oh, I can't do it from there. I don't want to get involved into a battle now. Did it just send me backwards? I shouldn't have done that. I mean, it can't have been that. Someone double check to see if it sent me backwards just then. A long way. If it was just a little way, that's not so bad, but... We're pretty close anyway, but it just feels like any backward step at this stage is quite frustrating. I'm going to try and... Oh, I don't have conflict scanner, so I can't filter out high conflict. There we go, we're there. All right, let's go to here. I could see there was a potential purple star, which can be a bit of a blocker. Current mission, Atlas Station, Black Hole, Custom Waypoint, Galactic Core. So we need to go to there. And then I need to recharge. Done.
Gravnaut says.
Oh, I don't care.
If you don't want.
I'm not even gonna play the save any further than this. I'm just gonna jump through the court and take my time. No music. Why is that? Oh, because I don't have the music. This is the one time you want music, and I can't change it now. It's already doing it. Never mind. We'll do it without the music. What was that question I had in my head? Would you prefer X or Y? It was going to be.
Axon Ignition says. We don't mind you singing.
What was it? It'll come to me again. Are they fireworks? Or just confetti things? Or is it a pinata opening? I'm not sure what it is. It's clearly a celebration thing.
Parmenter 1983 said. My, it's full of stars.
It doesn't like saying God, does it?
Alphas 195 says. Confetti thingies.
Ah, ah. It's the only bit I can think of from the music. I remember it being better than that. Just going ah ah.
Commencing Atlas system suit initialization.
Right, so we need to get the time.
5 says.
Activated.
Parmenter's comment reminded me of the Isaac Asimov short story Nightfall.
Shield kinetic system.
So not the movie or book. Well, I think it was just the movie of 2001: A Space Odyssey then, which was the reference. It's not operational. It's all dead.
Use that initialization sequence.
Have I got the right reload point? I need to...
Axon Ignition says, the only sci-fi author I've read is Alistair Reynolds.
Autosave 38 and we're on 1611. So I want to wait until it says 1611.
Mission accomplished. Now start Ignition's challenge.
There was a lot of reading for Ignition's challenge. I wasn't quite sure what the ultimate aim was, because I didn't read it all. 1538. No, is it going to let me? Am I going to have to find my ship in order to...
Axon Ignition says, Grav, don't make him hate me.
Is it the scanner or the analysis visor for the ship? It's the end. There it is. I check the time, 16:12. Ah, okay, that's fine. Quit to mode select. Yes. And it took me 18 hours and 9 seconds. I'm very pleased. And next time, there may or may not be a question that came to me earlier. I mean, between now and the update, I mean, it could be a few days, but I wouldn't afford to be more than a couple of weeks. So I might just do the abandon mode for a bit. But I'll be finishing off there. I've been Pharaoh. Travel well, and goodbye for now.